back from the eternal realm to pay y'all a visit. I've been summoned. So let's get started. Let me listen to a little tunes, get me motivated. And take it easy for a second. I got these silly eardubs from what is it, Holy Beach or something like that. I can't even get the other one to work, so I hope y'all can hear through this. Anyway, let's get through the spirits up and talk for a few. I got some time I want to kill. So, I just want to leave a message. Who's that? Summer Breeze, how you doing? Hello. Peace and blessings. Astronomical, let's go. How you been? Everything is good on this end. Holding it down, It's been a lot. We're gonna talk for a while, so let's get started on this anyway. Alright. Alright. I want to get into this because there's so much going on in the world today. We're going through so much changes, mental, spiritual. It's like alchemy. This is what you call alchemy. This is spiritual alchemy. Nature's taking us into a new frequency. We're in the Aquarian age. And it's so crazy. Just look at how everybody is acting, and from the damn president to people on the streets. So it has the most profound effect right now on humans, on our mental state. As it's not just government doing things to us. We're doing things to ourselves. The universe is doing things to us too. The gods is here. This is judgment, you could say. They're trying to keep it in a way that it looks more like something chaotic is going on, and it is worlds within worlds within worlds within worlds, but it all has always got to make sense and be simple. And you don't have to be a part of it to know the details. You just need to know what's going on and what's your focus in this or what's your purpose in this. So that's where we're at because although we have so much going on externally outside of us, we as human beings, we have to have some type of reference point. You're not outside yourself, not your kids, not your mother, not, your colleague. Your reference point got to be within yourself to know who you are. That's why that term came up, know thyself. So with this reference point, this is where you would be able to determine what's going on. Does it have something to do with you? What's your influence in it? Are you gonna get something out of it, or should you just focus on what you're doing? And so, with that in mind, the reference points is always gonna be one thing, and that's the topic of what we call it. We are gods. It's God. If you don't understand this part of it, you're gonna get tricked up into a digital world that right now our parents is gone, and you could say that we winging it on our own with the government your mentality, or our master is taking over in the sense of he's telling everybody how to do it, what to do. You're watching the Inquisition all over again. This is what happened to like the original Moors, not the Moors from Morocco and all them um, Moors that you see today. The real ones that's written out of history, the Magi's, the dark skinned indigo people that came with the knowledge that survived the flood. This is being happening again right now. Everybody is taken out of history. History is going to be rewritten today, and what took place all in the past is not going to be able to be used to direct you into the future, which there is no future. It's just the past repeating itself over and over and over again. Once you realize that, you won't be looking for a future. You'll be looking for yourself because you was already here many times and everything is repeating itself over many times. It's up to the government to dress it up in a nice package and give you new words, new meaning, new space, new toys to play with to look like the world is changing. But the saying is, it's nothing new under the sun because you're really mind, you're mental. And if you don't understand mental and God, you're going to be confused in this. So, to give you what I mean by mental and God, it was a philosophy our ancient ancestors taught us where you had to understand that, like this shirt, say this shirt, it was once a thought in somebody's head. And then they said, hey, let's make this into a nice red, white shirt and make it, and it comes into reality. Bam. Now, me, I make things too. So this was once a nice thought that I had in my head, and I made this and I brought it into reality. It's here now in reality. So you take everything from the device you're watching me on to the clothes you have on. It was somebody who thought of it. And so when you look at the philosophies and laws of thought, everything that's in our reality that's man-made came from his thoughts. So thoughts is the process of what's called creation or creating. You through your thoughts you create. Like before you was born, your mother had an imagination when she hit like 21 to 23. She was ovulating. They have to have a baby. This is the time women want a baby. So this is when their imagination start imagining what their child is going to look like, but they don't know that this thought that they're doing is creating the baby already in the spiritual realm, or what we call the astral realm, and it comes down into the physical through the soul, through the spirit next, then through the soul. But mind is the highest. It's like you have bodies, different layers to you, different dimensions, with the highest vibrating so fast. Look at this fastness, this ice that evaporates and you see steam. So the steam is faster than the solid ice, which is moving through. So as it vibrate faster, it turns to steam. As it vibrate even faster, it look like it disappears. But it's still there in the air as it condenses. So this is how the body works. The body has a physical, astral, a ethereal, and then what we call nous or mind, where it came from, the source. This source is what we're not understanding, and we got this God thing, and it has a lot to do with our culture. A lot of kids, if you take them to the movies, and when they see a karate flick or a Spider-Man or X-Men, they come out shooting webs and want to fight. So we actually have this neuroplasticity set that we copy what we see, and it becomes a part of our culture and our lifestyle. And it's important for us to know, as the title says, we are God. We can't take it in a pseudo way, like that's what we see on TV. So now some people think they're ISIS, some people think they're Ra, some people think they're this. It null and void you from you being Ra, from you being ISIS, because they are still who we are. It's only one set of spirits here. Keep getting new lessons over through the soul to wind up using it on a whole, you could say, conglomerate that belong to the universe. But part of the universe is nature, and nature, all these things is alive. So I want you to understand things you can't see and perceive because the senses in the physical body is very low, does not mean this is the reality. A cat, a dog could show you more of this reality than you could see in this reality because they see further than you, they hear further than you. Your senses is more acute than yours. So they have more of what's going on than we can see in the whole. So on that note, we're designed to only see our lessons, what the soul needs, what we're here to do. So it's important for you to understand this concept because you will believe everything outside yourself. And I'm a firm believer in like Buddha lessons, the spiritual and the soul lessons, because you have to go through that to ascend. And so we're here to ascend through those suffering, through hard times. And so this take on a different tone. Let me break it down so you understand what it means when I say this suffering and hard time, because we take it pseudo again. Now, if you take something and you squeeze it, put pressure to it, it changes like a coal turning into a diamond. It's the same thing. It will go when you apply it to the worm. that goes in the cocoon and becomes the butterfly, or the human being that eventually becomes the phoenix. And so you're here to go through a spiritual alchemy to become more than just what you're considered as a human, because after human come man, and after man you elevate to higher levels. So you're not looking at suffering as something to make you suffer. This is now where alchemy come in, and you have stages in alchemy where you have what's called what we're going through, which is called the blackening right now. This is where a lot of people beliefs, a lot of people hopes, a lot of people foundation is being ripped right from underneath them. It's being taken. You see it daily with the new thing they pushing in schools, critical race theory. You see them pushing the transgender thing into girls sports. Just break them. Just break their morality, break their spirit. This is what you call the blackening. And it's happening worldwide. You see protesters, you see rigging of the election, you see the incompetence of the president. It's like it's purposely done. Don't think this is like, we're in a big sense of blooper. This is a blooper. No, this is purpose and precise to just destroy your dignity of what you believe in. You see, people now is actually the video games they used to play 10 years ago. We live in a world now where everybody's shooting it up on the streets, and this is what they created, not us. We're, like I said, we're the kids who went in the movie, watched it, and came out shooting spider webs and thinking we're the superheroes. So we're innocent, but we're not awake yet to say that we're going to be accounted for our own nation, our own tribe, our own family, and most importantly, ourselves. You see, there's a point where that coming. Until you wake up, you're going to participate in a group society, in a group thinking, in a meme. And this is where you get your socialism and all the different capitalism. And to make it simple so you get a full 360 of how it's done. You got two parties, right? You got a Democratic and you got a Republican. Now, if you understand what I just said politics, and you look at this word in the text. Look at the text, like how you got all the different schisms, we'll call it. It doesn't matter, but the Paul in it is what you have to look at when you're talking politics, because it's the same Paul that is Apostle Paul. You have to understand now there is nobody named Paul, Apostle Paul. That's a pseudonym for another guy named Apollonius of Tyre. His name was Paul, P-O-L, and he wrote all the books because he knew a lot of languages. Peace and love, Ray. He knew a lot of languages because he went all over the world, and he was getting the knowledge out of India and all the Sanskrit writing when it was in its most original state, such as the Mahabharata. And you also had what's called the Golden Scrolls, which is what the Revelations, what he transcribed through the Council of Nice. And also he has a one student named Mercurius. Mercurius became Mark in the Bible. These people, Paul, yes, what's going on, Mike? You got Paul, which is Apollonius. He actually has more writings than you think because he's a Coptic writer. So when you say politics, that's who you're talking about. They're representing the philosophy of Paul or Apollo or what we call Apollonius. You understand? This is now breaking down into the other group, which you get now democratic. You should. I'm good, my family. I'm good. Everything is good on this end. Um, you get now with the democratic. This is where you catch now the demotic of the past, where you heard the Egyptians spoke a language called demotic. So also the Greeks, their culture or their republic was called the demotic. Well, when you look at the word demotic, demotic is a statement. It's not really a word. Like we think it means something demonic, but it didn't fall into the criteria of even language. It meant when you say demotic, you're talking about we the people. That's the word for we the people. Demotic says we the people. That's what it means. So you got your Democrats, we the people. You understand? And you got your Republicans that come from the Paul, which is a highest high mind and low mind, cardinal and highest self. So you got the Republicans that they put their kids through the military school. They send them to go fight. They send them to go be police and prosecutors and lawyers. And then they go be politicians because they're supposed to be of a higher order. Where you got the Democrats that's here to help kids, black people, put up Section 8. They give them more money and stimulus. They simplify with them. They bring out their lower self. So you see, it's still spiritual, but they just don't see how they're caught up in this little God game unless you coming from the side and them pull the other to the other side. But I'm gonna show you why it can't work and you can't participate in these things because it's just like a Satanist and a Christian. A Satanist and a Christian is the same thing. And why is that? Let's look at the yin and yang circle. Take the yin and yang circle. It's half black and it's half white. Let's say you have one group of people now and they're trying to make the thing all white. And then you have another group of people trying to make the thing all black. It's the same thing. You can't take the yin and yang symbol and make one side and make the whole thing white. So that'll be God, the good, the Christians, the Muslims, whatever they want to think, and the black. Say they were Satanists. That you can't make the whole thing black either. It's a balance like night and day. In 24 hours, you get 12 hours of darkness and 12 hours of light. My point to what I'm saying is, as good increase, evil going to increase too. We must know this in society, know this now from living for years. So once you realize that, then you know that a lot of things outside of you has no purpose to you. It just is. And whoever want to participate in it can. Your purpose though is to ascend to a higher level. That you understand now? You see, if you pay attention, it's always a judgmental thing. We're out here judging good and bad, this and this. Is this gonna hurt me? Is this not? That's not the point. The point is the discipline. If you get the discipline, you won't be subject to a lot of these things that is going on out here. I'll give you a great example. If you look at and pay attention to what's happening with people who's catching these sicknesses such as the virus that's out here now, you notice is people who have already other conditions or predispositions that is catching it. It hit mostly only the elder people, older people, because it involves deficiency, vitamin deficiency. And that's where the neglect come in of the body. It didn't affect the younger generation because they're not deficient yet. You understand? So for it to stick to you, you have to have a deficiency. That's where it comes in at. That's why you see a lot of people, you could defeat that with vitamin C, vitamin D, the turmeric, all that stuff is simple. But remember, it can't do you nothing. Just like you see people that's young running around doing what they want and it don't affect them if you're not, if you take care of yourself. So on that note now, when you experiencing all this stuff, we get into these states that we get nervous. We start being having eating disorder, relationship disorder, mental disorder, and this is how it take us. You understand? This is what makes the situation set where we're dependent not only on our devices, we watching them all day, waiting for a text, to watching these shows that we're more friendly with the characters on the TV show than our neighbors or probably the people in our own room. Sometimes we're more connected with the show and want that instead. And so you see some big disconnection from our reality and from our mind because we're caught up in this loop too. My point to this is for you to get back yourself and to be whole. You will have to put these devices down sometime. You will have to get back to the moment. Being in the moment is what it's about. We be in our heads. That's where we stay. We stay in our heads. If you stay in the moment, you will be able to navigate better and see everything that is trying to be pushed onto you. But being that we always thinking this, thinking that, we're this, we're that, it's the same like I said, the child going in the movie, watching it and then coming out and have more thoughts of who he is. It's like everything is in you already. It's for you to remember. But when you have too much information, you become too analytical. You wouldn't be able to tap in to the intuitional self in you, which is the soul and the spirit working together. Because realistically speaking, I give you something to pay attention to. This is weird. You have this thing that just went on with the Taliban where they took back over Iraq, or they was given Iraq, right? And they say on the news how these sheep herders, pushed out a whole military force that went to the best schools for it. And if you look back in history, ancient times when the those Moors, or what we call them, the Mohammedans, them Berbers, when they first started to come into existence, because it came through them coming from the west and they mutated. I tell that story all the time. So you're looking at Middle Africa, but up north now, this is Berber part. This is where the Moors is at. So now, when these people come into existence, they are already in a different state of mind. And I don't like to go to these places because people get offended when you tell them this. This is the truth of reality. It's like when we first started, the original big nose to now the tall, light skin, you lose in consciousness too. And with that, it become more of a barbaric state. We got civilization backwards, where we look at buildings as civilized. We look at when they had the pots and clay barbarian, and when they had nothing that was savage. But it's the opposite way around. The proper way of eating will be the Aito way, like the Rastafarian, or the natural way, like Dr. Sabi teach. So these would have been the highest one, the ones we consider savages, because they wouldn't have made the buildings, they wouldn't have made the pollution, they wouldn't have made the things that's there. And then the next one now, the middle one, barbaric, it stays barbaric because people fight over property. It was starting where they made a lot of spears. Spears came into existence in pots because people was fighting over property. That's still not. Now we on the soul level. I'm giving you how it is. And then at the end, we took the neocortex mind, and we're supposed to be civilized. But the civilized now is deprived of the natural life. And this is documented in all books. When the Europeans first start coming into Africa, it was a disconnection. You understand, the people there was 1,000 times more healthy, equivalent to how the runners run and the people be in the back. It's a difference. You understand? And so, like I said, you have to understand this, why who you are, because God made you a certain way. Nature, naturalness. And that's where it come on. When you make up a society, when you make up a system, when you make up a city, you have to provide preservatives and additives and a life for them, which is not natural with nature, which now is not the right biochemistry to go in the body that make it possible that the nature spirits, because there is spirits here, attack the people as they vibrate at the wrong frequency. Your BMI has to match up in this Aquarian age. You cannot be thinking you're going to be obese and not catch something or get sick. Or it's not because you're obese, it's because you're vibrating at the wrong frequency. Your frequency is your BMI. Back in the days, they used to use a pitchfork and hit different organs and listen to it to see if your organs was damaged. There is still that's science here. And you got to realize that's the best way to stay healthy. So, one of the most powerful things I've learned to keep me on the right journey, you know what I'm saying? To stay right, to stay healthy, you look at cravings as a very, very dangerous thing, but we grew up with it. When you know what craving is today, as I'm explaining it to you, you understand it doesn't stay with you. Craving could leave. It's a system and a part of alchemy too. Once you're able to get craving off of you, you're able to eat at will, and then not eat when you don't want to eat, because you're not giving yourself energy off of food no more. You've done enough activity in the sun staring really, and you've acquired enough energy, more than enough for yourself, that you can share with others, that you're not depleted of energy. That's why you want to eat. So eat and become a memory thing, like, yo, let me go eat, let me go eat, instead of you being hungry, craving. This is actually a big thing. Yeah, Ray Dashi, the tuning fork. Back in the days, they used to use it to tune the organs. It was a famous guy. You know, they got rid of him and his research because it was actually a healthy way to actually find it. And I still think they got a frequency device that you could put on different organs if you set it there, like little trials or whatever, and you could see what your frequency of your different organs, such as your liver, kidney, pancreas, is, and see if they're healthy or not. All right, so back to alchemy now. We was talking about the blackening. So we're going through in society now a lot of people. I mean, there is people who's all right, and there's people who's great. God bless you, because in every catastrophe, there's always something good always comes out of it, like the rose out of the concrete. So you know, as much as some people is going through hard times, other people is coming up right now, especially the black nation right now, because we always was built to for pressure. We anytime things go bad, we rise because those is the condition we flourish under. Unfortunately, it's just that way, you know, and you must understand. Jeffrey Campbell, peace and blessings. If you understand yourself, it makes it a beautiful thing, because God designed us as nature. We are the gods, we are the spirits combined into one thing. And I want to help y'all on this journey to understand something. Like when we talking our blackness and who we are, or our brownness, or just the pigmentation in our skin, I know for years, and it is in our culture to use that melanin term. Melanin, we were high in melanin, and I want to fix that for you and get it straight, because melanin is not a natural substance. Melanin is a precursor, like a coenzyme. For you to have melanin in your body, you need lysine and tyrosine. You understand? So melanin itself comes from lysine and tyrosine. You can read it, then it turns to melanocytes, and then it makes melanin. So that means without tyrosine and lysine, you can't have no melanin. So I will give the props to tyrosine and lysine before I give it to just melanin. Melanin is the precursor, like a coenzyme. One love, Donna Suave. How you doing? So you don't go around praising something ignorantly and look stupid to white people who's smarter or educated people, because they know melanin is not a natural substance and it's not in rocks and all that stuff like you're saying, because it's dark. You have to know a little bit to understand where it come from. It's a precursor. It's like, you know, like I said, a coenzyme. They need an enzyme to make it. So you really should praise amino acids. Lysine is an amino acid. So is L-tyrosine. Tyrosine is an amino acid. Amino acids makes those hormones, all of them. You understand? Amino acids is the next level. That's why you see, that's when athletes is messing with steroids now, when you're talking those type of levels. So you understand now, you know, don't praise the melanin, praise the tyrosine and the lysine. Yes, Donna Suave, it's good to hear you here. It's good to hear you here. I'm gonna try to feed it to you as simple as I can to help that everybody forget these little things. You know, speaking of L-tyrosine and lysine, you know, these things is very important. Like for people who have thyroid issue, most of the time you're depleted in lysine, and that's what make it not lysine. I mean tyrosine. It's part of the T hormones inside of your lymph nodes here. So sometimes you could just get yourself some tyrosine supplement and you can fix your thyroid problem. You can't go wrong. But I tell a lot of people now, they mess with the sea moss and iodine and sea kelp and all this other stuff. When it comes to that, that's a dangerous trick to play with yourself. And you know, I did on my Facebook already that the sea moss or merengue challenge, you know, and to be honest, there's nothing in sea moss. There's no vitamins, no minerals, nothing. Nothing more than iodine. 300% of the daily recommended. But when you go and Google it for yourself, see what's the nutritional value of sea moss. Pull up the chart on it. Put up the vitamin chart, and you will see it don't have nothing. You don't even meet the daily value for anything on it, and it don't have the A, B, or none of that stuff. It's just full of iodine. So for me, when you play with stuff like that with sea moss and a lot of iodine, it can make your thyroids act up because if you have no thyroid problem or over iodine will make your thyroid act up. And for a lot of people, just for the record, you can't just take a iodine supplement because iodine too is not a natural supplement. Iodine is made with a couple other vitamins. They make iodine. So taking artificial iodine is messing you up because that's not how your body synthesizes it. It has to synthesize it in the way it takes it. Else it won't synthesize. It'll come out your body. I hope. Could y'all hear me? Let me see if this is still on. I think it's still on. Could you hear me? All right, so let's keep it going. So now, what I was saying with alchemy now, when you're going through petrification, seems like all right. Thank you, Mike. It's like what our government is putting us through, and it's not maybe you per se personally, but your parents, if not their parents, higher people. All right, that's what's up, Jeff. Thank you. And that's what people is experiencing on all levels from, the stuff you're seeing going on overseas. All right, Donna, respect, thank you, to what's taking place with our kids. And I'm gonna touch upon that real quick while we on the subject matter. We have a weird future ahead of us. I'm gonna explain to you what's going on that you have to understand. I'm gonna go back a little because I'm gonna take it into. I hear they're talking a lot about this Marxism stuff, and this is where this comes in at with Marxism, and that's supposed to be Karl Marx. Karl Marx is a half black or a black man too. But let me explain to you. This thing that we're talking about with Marxism is tribal society way of living back when we're talking about how the tribes of Israel lived. They lived under certain laws. We're talking how the Essenes lived. We're talking how the Jews lived. This is how tribes live. All African tribes had secret societies. I would post the books on the ancient societies and how they had these. We had them from out the gate. We was brought here on the earth with this lifestyle or Marxism that they're saying. But it's not Marxism what we're into. It's the problem what they did to it. Let me explain. Look at Marxism or what we call communism as your basic group of one tribe, let's say the tribe of Judah, they had a community where the chief was the head person. You had the inner court and the outer court. The outer court was where the more impoverished people stood at. The inner court, where the more civilized, richer people was at. Also, now you had a separation between man and woman. Women couldn't be around the parts of the courts during their menstrual time. Certain times they had to go even a third level back because they considered that unclean. So this was part of all African society. This is where they get it from. They didn't make it up. It wasn't Masonic. It was the African lifestyle. If you read ancient African books, it'll show you how they had their society set up. There's the judge was there, which was the chief. He debate the cases. They had all this. So they're taking that now and bringing it into modern society, like how you're seeing they're letting everybody from different tribes, such as your South Americans and the Mexicans, all come together in one big melting pot so they could get rid of that talk about who's American and who isn't, which is fine. But what I'm saying is the basic of Marxism will be equal to the Essenes, how they lived in Qumran. That's how they lived, how Jesus would have lived, how the disciple, the real style of how children of Israel is supposed to live. It lived with a culture of a commune. That's when he says, put down your cross and your belongings and come. And so this is how Joseph lived. If you had looked in there, you would see that he left carpentry. He didn't get paid for it. They built house for everybody. That you come in the community, you just work. It's how Hitler did the same system. You work and the government pays you. You live for free. They give you car, but all you had to do was work. So, anyways, this how it was back then. And if you was from the royal bloodline like David, a David is a Thoth. That's a Thoth bloodline or Akhenaten bloodline. So they would leave the missionary life for a few months to go find a Vestal virgin or a woman that's of a higher rank and higher class, and they would get into what we call first the espousalship, and then a year later, according to Jewish religion, they'll have the consummation, which is to have sex. You understand? Now, in Qumran time or in Essenes, this is normal that all human beings has angelic name. They wouldn't have your name Tyrone or David. After you come into Qumran, they'll give you the white stone. You get the white stone. Now you get a new name. This is in the Bible. You see, Herod was selling this to the Jews, and they was actually no, he was selling it to the Romans, and they became Jews. That's how Saul became Paul. You understand? This is a real history. This really happened. Now. So once they bring you into the inner court and you get this new name and this new everything. Your name is the name of an angel. You understand? Everybody was different angels. This is actually you can look it up. It's in Qumran. I'm doing the Dead Sea Scrolls right now for you. For the knowledge you're getting from me is straight from the Dead Sea Scrolls, how it was done. But they're the actual writers of the story of John the Baptist and Jesus, which is a different type of story. Because in the Dead Sea Scroll, this is now I think the book of Habakkuk, it tells you John the Baptist was the savior, and he got his head cut off, and they said the wicked priest went on and lived, and he deceived everybody, which would have been equivalent to Jesus. So it's more confusing than anything if I explain it to you. Not to put judgment into this, because don't judge words. You have to go experience it for yourself. But what I'm saying is that it's a spiritual story. It's not a physical story. Everybody got their own version of from Krishna, Jesus. You got Bacchus, you got Apollonius, Dietary, you even got Haile Selassie who claimed them that attribute too. This is an attribute of the soul. It's as simple as understanding if somebody give you a riddle, a parable, and say, I'm gonna be in the Father, right? Listen to this. I'm gonna be in the Father, and the Father is gonna be where? In you. It's that simple to understand. So you got two things in you. It's not something outside of you. That's what I'm saying. They say it a million times. It's in you. So when you realize you're the God to come, your world, you don't have holes in your eyes. Take a screw and dig through your eyes and see what's going on here. See this and do that. Look at matter with holes in your eye. You don't. You got some type of electronic device over your eyes. So you don't see nothing outside. You see electrical signals. Everything is contained within the self. Within the self, then you got what's called a macabre. The macabre. That's what's called the ka and the ba that they talk about from ancient time. Why not the mother inside of us, brother? Why not the mother down inside? You see, you when you look outside yourself, you polarize yourself. There's no such thing as would be a mother or a father. But when we talk, we're usually going to talk in the sense of those words. Let me explain why there's no father, there's no mother, and a lot of that is true. This is why. Because you got one brain. That's like saying one circle. But just like the yin and yang, you got a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere. This is real. I'm not speaking nothing that's not real. So you got one thing that's two things. So one person is two. You understand? You would say this side of your brain controls this side, and this side of your brain controls this side. So one is male, one is female. Or you could say one is masculine, one is feminine. Or you could say one is positive, one is negative. So inside everybody is both male and female. The trick to this is to balance it. Don't see yourself as male or female. Balance it. That's when you have the full energy into the sun, the opening of your chakras, the seven seals. But until then, we polarize ourselves. We're judgmental of how we see things, but we're not seeing it. You're seeing it from the deception of it. How I put it is you're the image in the mirror, but you're not the person standing outside the mirror. You're the reflection. You're not the person in front of the mirror. Understand that. In the real game, the real heaven, whatever you want to call it, is real. The ghost would be the person standing in the mirror, and his reflection will be a calcified flesh, or what we call matter. That's why you see the mother you're talking about is in the word matter. Matter itself is feminine. The whole universe is feminine because it's male is built off of matter. So you have two substances here, matter, and then you have spirit. Spirit animates the matter. Matter is here and it's alive, but it's dead until, yes, I get that. That's what's up. And so spirit animates matter. Matter, for it to work, is just like a battery. It needs a positive end and a negative end. When you put both sides together, you get light. So you're always gonna have good and bad. That's the story of the prodigal son. That's what makes the world go around. That's what makes us come into existence. If we had just one force, it wouldn't work. Like you hear in the Bible in the beginning, it says there was first darkness, and darkness came out the light. So we can't say, and light came on the third day. So darkness was ruling everything. So there's no bad or good. This darkness is a light so bright we can't see it. We think darkness is dark. All right, so let's move back into this calcification now, and that's the second level because we was just doing what's called the blackening. So in alchemy, and this is for we are God, the alchemy in life and nature, the universe. I'm saying now is dictating you as the puppet master. We're moving past all the local stuff, your neighborhood stuff, the state stuff, the country stuff. We out the world now. We're going to the universe. The universe is animating himself. He wanna live using y'all. Y'all understand? He's the real big boss of this because he's not trying to die. So whatever y'all experience, it goes back to him when y'all die because you're still him. He's the Jesus that everything says. When he said, "I'm in the Father, and the Father is in you." So you got this thing called the universal soul that comes into everybody, but it acts different in a different body depending on your natal chart. It acts different. It's never the same. So now that you're in it, your experience is going to be chalked up to that, and you're going to come back again and do it over. So once you understand you have a part in this to do on a higher level, you take yourself out of the local stuff and the basic stuff and put yourself up there and reach for the we are gods through this process called alchemy, where you pay attention to nature. There's good days, like you see the trees come up and the blossoms, then days where it withers and it dies, and then there's nothing on them but limbs. But then season come around and they grow back again. So you look at that and you flow with that. You don't go against that. If you see the limbs is falling off, you don't try to crazy glue them back on, water it more. You realize it's times for a transformation to occur. And so when you're going through adversity, hard times, whatever you're going through, or you're experiencing, watching, seeing, don't see it as something bad. Don't argue with it. Don't mortify your inside, because when you mortify your inside, you change who you're gonna be or who you are. You want to stay. So when you see yourself in contention, when you see yourself feeling out of right, say, I'm learning something. It's that simple. When you're learning something, it's uncomfortable. And so we tend to have to go through it in a chaotic way, or through how our parents had to whip our asses. It's hard. So once you could realize that for self, you don't force yourself onto nature. You flow with nature. Our science is simple because we don't fully understand the soul, how it works. We are taught to balance out our universal knowledge. We don't say mine's is different, or yours is whack and the mine's is no. I listen to yours, and your experience become my experience become your experience, and we universal it. So we only all here to move forward in a positive way, not to be seeing our differences, but to recognize our same. Once we could do that, there is nothing that you can't overcome, only your own fear. And the fear is the ignorance in facing something, going out and approaching something, what I call experiencing alchemy for self, through anticipating whether it's something you don't like, something you contemplate upon doing. These things, you have to drop these because it leads to procrastination, which will put you in the wrong place at the wrong time or taking on somebody else's karma. You understand what I'm saying? Once you realize that your journey is led by the universe, so wherever you're going to be is where you're supposed to be at. It's that simple. It's not something you have to plot out. You're going to just let the universe lead you and intuition be the guide. You have to be your intuition. It's not going to work if you think you're you. You go to sleep and wake up not thinking about yesterday or mad about yesterday or still stuck on that bad relationship. You move on. So it's the same thing. Every day you're supposed to keep going this way, not going this way, but your mind is in here back to yesterday. This will take you out of the moment. You're always in the moment. You're never not in the moment. So you have to unite your mind with your body in the moment. When you do that experience now, you see it. You see opportunity. You see failures. You see truth. If you're not there, you're going to see what your mind is projecting upon the experience. You're not getting the lessons of the experience. And that's what you're here to do. It's only about lessons of the soul. So by staying in the moment, you can master the self, you can master the environment and master the people around you. And doing this daily, you ascend because it becomes repetitious now. It's nothing new. It's not interesting. It becomes boring. Once it do that, your interests go to something else. You're gonna find yourself elsewhere. That's just how it works. But until you do that, you're gonna keep falling in the same hole, falling in the same hole until you get yourself in your body. You're here now all the time. So that's the key to it. But through, like I said, the first level is what's called the blackening. Things just start going wrong. You go to grab the thing and it falls. They call you and you're fired. Your son just got shot. This is the blackening. This is not against you. This is a spiritual upgrade. It has to upgrade this way. Why it has to upgrade this way is because your ego is ruling you, and your ego gonna override even bad, but that you're here to learn from or say, nah, I was wrong. You're not gonna do it. You're like, fuck that. Nah, this is how it is. So everything has to fall apart. And when it do, you feel like you're gonna die inside. You feel like actually death is coming up on you. You're scared. You're not happy. Your depression takes you. Start eating more. You know, these actually is where we get it wrong. Instead of we going into these modes, I'm telling you now, alchemy, you're going through what we call the first stage of transformation, which is called the blackening. Everything goes wrong. Once that's taken away from you, you're in your body now. You're ready. So what comes next? The next one is called calcination. This is when you yourself is going to be solidified in what you're choosing now. You have to make choices. It's like the building is going to fall and you have to get out. Calcination is the choice, and the choice might not be good, but that's what makes it calcination. It has to calcify you into a change. This is when they say you can't put old wine in new wineskin. If you just change because your mind says so, tomorrow your change ain't gonna stick. Through the blackening, then come the calcination. Yes, Donna, it's the only true way in nature. You know when you say that you've been there, it's bugged out. All the other things we're imposing ourselves to change, we don't need to. You're wasting your energy doing that. You actually energy blocking yourself. Through the blackening and calcination of alchemy, you're gonna change when the time is the time. That's why he says Not right now, woman. It's not my time. You can't force something. You not even your quitting of a bad habit. Not even the abusiveness in a relationship. You can't quit it until it's time. And you know that. This is the funny part. You know that. But we make these New Year's resolution all the time and we stick to it for 15 minutes. That's the whole problem. You see, you ain't gonna feel your calcination if you do that. You ain't gonna blacken it if you do that. That goes straight to what's called dissolution at the end. Dissolution. Something has to be matter. Something has to stay here to hold this world together. So everything is a part of something. They just don't know what part they're gonna play yet. And this attachment that these things that I'm talking about, they attach themselves, they become magnetic and they attach themselves to matter and it's stuck in matter. So when you get to the after calcination now, which is important because the calcination is when you start having acceptance of your defeat of yourself. Your ego is starting to die. It's like now the holy ones start to come in you. You start to raise up. No, you can't force anything, Ray. If you try to force it, it's gonna come back at you because it's nature's call. We could say we do it, but in actuality, it's not in truth. Truth don't change. The truth is consistent. So if it's not constant and it's not permanent, then you change it. Nature then change it. That's right. That's right, Donna. So we want permanent change in this Aquarian age because what we're gonna go through is metaphysical, not physical. And a lot of physical things that we attach ourselves to is holding us back from us being spiritual, from eating right, from where we're headed now, where deception, GMO, the sludge in the soil, the foods, the additives, the preservatives, the vaccination. Everything is here to destroy you spiritually, to make you these mind robots, series. And if you fall for that, you're making them a lot of money and you're securing their empire in the pharmaceutical company. You see, all of this is not something that is not well thought out and played out for somebody to benefit from. We're not all running help and trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Somebody know what's going on and is benefiting from it. And you don't need to know the whole detail, but don't trust nothing. And also prepare yourself. The message is God says, prepare yourself. That's when he says, son, do not let thy eyes be whipping by thy flower. Stay away from those so-called friends. They're gonna weaken you, and then they're gonna take your energy. Energy stealing is a real thing, and we give our energy out through a whole bunch of these devices. Yeah, feel it. Don't force it. That's right, Jeff. It's natural. You know, if the world did that, which is what we're going through now, that's why we unleashed. The universe took the leash off of us. Let everybody be. You see your man's clapping, you see all this happening, but I also see a lot of love. I see a lot of things that make my heart want to cry too, with hope and honor. And I see everything. The transformation is on. And after this transformation, we're all going to be higher beings. We have to learn to control this Holy Spirit that's jumped in us now. And it's what's making everybody have anxiety, scared, but it's making us all independent too. We're pushing for our own businesses, our own everything. And we're here now as awakened, like I say, staying in the moment, which wasn't what was happening a few years ago. And with that, it's like the Democratic and Republican parties throwing their hands up in the air like it's over for us. What are we gonna do? Everybody's going into free enterprise, and you know, soon we ain't gonna need them. We all trust and share between each other. We don't need nobody to do that. Let me explain to you something real quick. You must understand why this is happening on everybody, especially when you look at it from a patriotic point of view. It's like you have to realize the whole Constitution was null and void from a long time ago, and we've been no Constitution. So there wasn't no Constitution for it. And keep in mind, You're not you. They're not talking to you. You're talking to this thing you have in your pocket with all capital letters on it. And that thing that you call a social security that you actually carry, that's who's being subject to this. So that person now who is not you, that's just all in capital letters. You're a commonwealth person. Your name is the first letter capital and the rest lower. So but when you answer to anything in these capital letters, you make yourself liable. You're now called trustee of the estates. The estates is the body. The body is subject to the earth, which is Satan. But you yourself is a soul. It says God made the soul. So you're not subject to it, but you must separate your body from your soul. Because your soul go back to God, your body go back to Satan, which is the earth. You understand what I'm saying? So once you understand this, then you will know that when you look outside yourself, you subject yourself to your straw man. The straw man that has to answer to these court cases, the straw man the check is written to, the straw man that the bills come to. This is the difference between you. You see, you, they're not going to mess with. You belong to God. But your body, like I said, it says it in the Bible, the flesh, uncircumcise yourself. Cut yourself off from the flesh, and you will see everything that's going on. But when you think you're the flesh, you don't even realize how your name is in all capital letters, and they ain't even talking to you. I just told you that. So that denotes your flesh. If you only put it in the spiritual way or how it's done, with the courts, the whole governmental system is the priests. They doing magic on you pretty much. You understand? You believe it because you're still young. You're not mature enough yet to understand how these things work. You understand? And so they could null and void the Constitution, null and void anything, because that's just something. That's the most important thing is the all caps name and you carrying it. That means that somebody and built the infrastructure on this what we call the Republic of whatever you call it here in the United States. They built this train system. They put up telephone poles. They made the houses. And they said, we need citizens. So how are we gonna get them? I just wept now, birds weep with my spirits. That's right. They said, how are we gonna be citizens? So what they do now, they send everybody into this new world and they give them a social security number and a card. That means you're what's called a citizen. But you're no such thing as a citizen. You're what's called a sovereign. So what's a king? What's a queen? What's a monarch? Somebody who's sovereign. Everybody's supposed to be sovereign. That's your right to 40 acres and a mule. But when you're using their infrastructure, their products, you how you say it, you null and void your sovereignty, and you become a citizen. You understand? Where can I learn more about the straw man? There's so much information. I would say go get the best way to get it in the most profound way is Redemption 4.5. I think it's 5.0 now. It's a big ass book. It probably costs like $700, $400. Redemption. They give you even the paperwork to do your sovereignty in the back. It's still real. I got a copy of it on my phone right here. It's the best stories of how this world, the United States came about, all the equities, all the systems, and it shows you who you are. You're Dorothy. The whole story of the Wizard of Oz is about this, the whole redemption thing. It's about you, the straw man. You got to read the book. It's incredible, but it's like I said, it's about 2,000 pages, and it really teaches you all the laws and how I think it was the Red Coast or the South never went back and signed the after the independence that kept us like there's no real constitution. It's not legal because of that, and so we've been perpetrated on ever since then. And that's what's going on with those two parties trying to pull you and sway you to their direction, which is no good directions either way. So Anyways, now, like I was saying, because you're using their infrastructure, their stuff, and you gave up your sovereignty, which would have just not even made them a king and queen. You would have just been equal with them because they're just humans. But then they made up another thing called citizens because they built the foundation for this shit. So when you even go get a job, you know the job application is you what is it? You giving up your human rights. That's all it is. That's why the government is giving them businesses funding. So they have to give up their rights and make everybody who's employed to them give up their rights so they could tax you. They can't tax a person who's a commonwealth, who's flesh and blood. They only could tax your straw man. It's illegal to tax a human being. So they only could tax the straw man name. You understand? That's being taxed. So for them to tax you, you have to fill out a job application where you're giving up your rights as a human being and you becoming that corporate person that gets the check. So that's why you have to go through that. But don't think if filling out an application to fill out an application, you're wavering your rights as a human being. That's what you're doing. So you get what's going on now. The police could do it to you. The president could do it. You don't have no rights with that card. That is the only thing you must realize. Once your name is in all capital letters, you're on their infrastructure. You're forever what's called a citizen. There's no laws to citizen because the government could change it at any given time. Once you understand that, you will seek out sovereignty. Don't let them tell you it don't exist. You're a human being. Social insurance, yes, Donna Slavic. So those things will help you, but it's hard navigating in the world where everything is GMO and artificial. Bill Gates probably owns 50% of the farmland in the United States. So this becomes the next issue at hand. You have to be able to understand it's like you have to find a natural way. It's not going to work even if you become a sovereign in the United States, eating artificial foods, the preservatives, all the stuff they designed it to spiritually hurt you and to make you have to still depend on their pharma companies. So you would need a natural life. You would need space that you could farm, make your own boxes, and try to get the seeds to be as natural as possible. This way, you have a fighting chance because when you're talking alchemy is a condition your body has to be in to go through it. You're going through a spiritual change. It doesn't just happen by you going through the blackening part. Everything don't work out for you. When that occurs, you have an alchemical reaction going through your body. It's like your loving mother, she passed away and it hurt you. That just set off chemicals in you. This is what's called a blackening. It's burning the salt, who you think you was, and what you feel, the foods, everything off for you. And this continues over and over again. Yes, yes, Terrell. God bless you. Thank you. It happens over and over again until it's like it ferments through your body and raises up into you and it starts to make kundalini rise. It's a part of what we call alchemy in the sense of now you're going to go through a psychotic experience or psychomental experience for a second there. And a lot of people who going through it, nature don't make mistakes. They're not crazy and they're not psychotic. They're going through their own kundalini. Right now, the depth and time of how long it lasts, it depends. If you're in a natural environment, it won't act up. There's not so many people to mess with you. It goes through quicker. When you're in the city and you're being fed pharmaceutical drugs, you're told you're crazy, your family be the first one to put you in. It induces that shit and make it worse. And you come out hating and you become the Holy Spirit, but you become an avenger, the dark one. And it happens all the time. And the government knows this. They study all these Maharaba books and everything I told you from the Apostle Paul or Apollon, Paulus. This is simple. Let me break it down so you understand. At one time, books was money. In Egypt, books was money. Everything wasn't about what you think. They only had grains and flowers and leaves to eat. That didn't worth no money. You didn't have that to survive. They didn't do money with that. Books was money. They went all over the world seeking books. Look at Ptolemy or Ptolemy. Look at Matheno had libraries of books. Cornelius Agrippa, though they went around the world collecting books. Ptolemy, the pharaohs, they had that was their money because we came up out of a recreation, an earthquake, a flood, and we didn't know nothing no more. And whoever found these scrolls, books, they learned quick. They would see what they was building at the time. So the knowledge was more important than the money or anything else. So when we've now lost all of this, this is will you save this live on your channel? Yes, Mike, this is gonna stay here. You know, of course. So it was actually the knowledge was more important, and guess why? This wasn't regular knowledge, everybody. Not the knowledge y'all see here. This is not knowledge in the United States. None of it. None of it. No professor, no. Knowledge is hidden in France, Germany, England, these places that went to Egypt and translated from the Emerald tablets to what's written on the wall. They got all the Coptic books. They got all the Dead Sea Scroll. Yo, let me tell you, the real Emerald tablets or the books of Hermes is where the Bible comes from, the Mahabharata come from, everything come from that because that comes from before the flood. So that's the first thought because you got three thoughts. But the whole point to what I'm saying, it became such a system. It became such a way of life. It is nature. It's the universe. It's the flow of everything. It is Fibonacci itself. You understand? So once you learn the science, once you learn this, it is the ultimate power called the Emerald Tablets or just Hermes, Hermetic life. I live a hermetic life. And don't think the universe ain't putting you into a hermetic life for a good reason why everybody has to isolate. Of course, you're going to lose your mind at first because our mind is undisciplined. It's been running wild our life. The thing is, if you practice yoga, meditation, you will have to sit still and hold the mind still. Don't entertain your thoughts. You have people that, if you just stand and look at them, they start going crazy. What are you looking at? What's wrong with you? You just see them like, they go crazy. It's people actually just by you staring at them, they go crazy. What are you looking at me? This is what happens when you have an untrained mind. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just the mind is a wild stallion. So through isolation and self-control and discipline, you learn to leave the body because that's what this is about. You're afraid to leave your body. You used to do it all the time when you was a child. But as you got older now, these things, it's like frequencies on a radio station. We tune them out. We tune them out. We tune them out. Sometimes they tune themselves back in and it become a bad experience. So never got the chance to check any of those out because I got knocked off. I'm literally 2 years behind about the end of process. Time of the day, yes, that's what it is. Yeah, so back to this universal alchemy now. You see, those books that they was chasing was those type of books that's in France, Germany, the real keepers of the knowledge, and believe it or not, they look so primitive is actually the Arabs who got it from the Moors. The Islamic nations was the nation ruling right after Egypt. Remember that now. They defeated them. They took over Egypt and all that. And so their knowledge of what they have is where we get our knowledge from. You understand? And their knowledge is always going to be boss. Because you're talking about people that lived during that time. So they actually know it and they pass it on not just from word of mouth, but also in books. Their books is banned from us. Put it like that. If it involved things will be considered evil, bad, darkness, but we didn't know what was going on before, and it still boiled down to this: we don't know what the body can do. This is what this is about. It's not about living. It's not about eating. It's teaching you what the body could do. If you knew that, 99% of your problems would be solved if you knew how your body works and what it could do. You don't even know what the body eats or feed off of. I deal with a lot of people, and their inflammation, we call it in the Western world, big bone. There's no such thing as big bone because I know I was 250 my whole life, 250. I'm big bone. I'm big bone. I'm big bone. I'm muscular and all that. I was 250 straight muscle. But guess what? When that sun took my ass and I drew down to like 160, I could eat all I want. I couldn't get big again. And that's when I learned now, I'm into the naturopathic, thing. And actually, you have what's called inflammation. A lot of foods give you inflammation to make you look big. It's not even that you're fat. I didn't say fat. I said inflammation. That's like you take a balloon and it swells up. You swollen. It's a difference. Your skin could be loose a little bit, like collagen on them all. That should be so tight you could barely swollen. That's inflammation. That's not good. You're headed to a bad place. So we eat a lot of food that our body disagree with, and the reaction is called inflammation. I give you a quick example. When you eat a lot of rice, a lot of protein, you get your B vitamins deplete fast. The B vitamins, like 8 vitamins, that actually is responsible for producing the gastric acid in your stomach. It actually is responsible for metabolizing sugars. It's also responsible for metabolizing proteins and carbohydrates. So when you don't make enough gastric acid or bile within 4 hours, the food spoil inside your stomach and it starts to ferment. When this happens, you get the bloating up now. Now you big, but the belly's sticking out. Or your belly is not breaking down the food. You're not making hydrochloric acid no more in the belly. And so what wind up happening, you get now after 4 hours, the petrification of the food, which make now white blood cells attack it, and this turns out the result is bacteria start flowing through your blood from the white blood cell, picking away at the food that's sitting in your belly because you got a big gut, and it's just swollen too of gas. So when this occur, you get sinuses, hay fevers, because we be thinking it's up here, the mucus is coming from the nostril and in the throat and then in the chest. No, it started in the belly and it's coming up from the belly up into you. And that's how it's done. You would need either hydrochloric acid pills or you have to eat smaller amounts. You eat smaller amounts, the food could burn off. It's like you put a big plate of food over a candlelight and the candle was snuffed out. So you have to put a little bit at a time, eat smaller amounts over a long period of time. But that's the result of what I call inflammation. When the person just look big, that's what is going on inside their body, which later on leads to arthritic pain, gout, and a whole bunch of other issues that they're going to have later on. The best thing to do is to get the belly down, to get a few washouts. You need some detoxes, some fiber. More fiber in your diet will pull down your belly and pull out all the toxicity. Because right there, when you get like 5 pounds overweight, your liver and kidney don't perform at its optimal performance. You got weak detox going on. That's why a lot of people, once they gain 5 pounds, they become diabetic or start having insulin resistance because your kidney and liver can't perform at its optimal level no more. So it's important to practice fasting and a discipline. Ever get into music, art, something that'll take your mind off of food and eating and gets into sun staring so that you could get yourself back towards your BMI. When you lose maybe a few pounds, your liver and kidney start kicking in again and your metabolism speeds up. But as long as you're gaining, it's harder for your metabolism to run because the liver and kidney is set at a frequency, it vibrates at a set frequency. But when you put on weight, you're gonna experience what's called insulin resistance. Your heart have to hit harder to push blood through the new fat in the arteries and make you have to work more. This is how you get that inflammation big now. I'm big bone. My family big bone. No such thing. Come to the sun, and I'll make you so skinny and you can't gain it back. Trust me. And a lot of the information, you just need some bioflavonoids, antioxidant, a lot of it, and you will see that. A good example, so you understand this, is if you go in the sun. Um, Oh, damn, long time no see. What's going on, the possible? If you go in the sun and you get a suntan, if you go in the sun and you're burning, your skin changing color, that's because you don't have no antioxidant. The sun cools you off. You're not supposed to, one, get hot, and you're not supposed to get sunburned. That's what happened is your skin is toxic. All the food you eat in the bag, oils, all the stuff is coming to the top layer, and when the heat hits it, it fry it. If you was to deoxidize yourself, this is now putting a lot of antioxidants in. What we call in tannin, to make it simple, is the free radical cells coming up to the top. They broken cells. That's why it turns cancerous to people who is tanning under the wrong UV conditions, and they get the browning coming up to the top because that's the free radical cells, and it's gonna just make it mutate at a faster pace. But now, say if you was having some antioxidants in your body, now when you go in the sun, you could take off your shirt, you could be white as hell, and you won't tan. As a matter of fact, you feel cool. You can't be hot. Your body got a magnetic field like when the earth throw that big, I mean the sun throw the big flames at the earth and the earth puff up, poof, it got its magnetic field around it. You got that too. But it's the condition your body is in. Alchemy. Alchemy is a natural process. You're hindering alchemy. It's like a seed. When you plant the seed, what do you do to the seed? Nothing. It grows with water. But what you and what you putting in your garden is making the seed grow crooked. It's making it grow wrong. You get what I'm saying? It can make it grow so wrong that say rain hit it, the rain fuck it up. It hurt. They're like, y'all don't like rain, it hurt. But the rain is supposed to be good. This is the condition. Talk about the breath. Yes, yes. All right, now you see, once you get that alchemy and you understand the condition of the body, set the condition of your evolution, your spiritual growth. Because if you cannot survive kundalini, it won't work. These they call them kundalini pops, where you get your first sacral chakra open. It's when your life really is grounded to the earth. You're more disciplined to work and making money. You're getting balanced now. The real you come. Before your root chakra open, you was your mother, you was your parents, you was the teacher, you was the thought you saw on TV, you wasn't you. When the root chakra open, you become the self. You become starting to be a responsible person, paying your bills, getting it together. That means your root chakra open. It's just the beginning of trouble, though. With the root chakra open is all the stuff that come along with it. Every chakra that open does not open with peace. It open with hell. It's like every toy store, every level got a toy store in it. And when you go in the toy store, it's all new toys. Shit you ain't never seen before. What do you think you're gonna do when you get in there? Get in trouble until you learn what each one do. Till you learn to respect yourself, learn to respect it. Then that's when everything makes sense and you move up after you finish the trial and error. So with the root chakra open, a lot of responsibility, a lot of mistakes come when you learn. Once you finish and you get tired of it, the intuition has to take a role and play a part in your next level to get to the Mudalara, the next chakra, which is the more, it's not just understanding, it's the beginning of disciplined sex. You understand? It's just an evolutionary cycle every human going in that is replicated as Hercules and we're going through all the trials and tribulations as Jesus. Every one of y'all is the Jesus story. It's in you. That's why it says I'm in you. It's your experience. The earth only have one experience. And no matter how many times you come, it's the same experience. It could be written out. And so you have to understand what's going on. then you won't be having a pseudo thought of it. You would just do it. You're it. You're it. So that's the simplest way to put the whole process of alchemy that you're gonna go through. Look at Jesus in the simplest way. He was beaten. It was like that he's telling you the flesh, beat it off you. And then on the cross, that's the petrification, transformation. He comes back as an ascended man. Everybody's story is the same. It's who your journey gonna take on, like it or not. You could don't see it. You could be into family and kids. It's occurring. It's occurring. Either you participate in it or you be ignorant of it. If you ignorant of it, you get caught in what's called fate. This is how people who die. People die because they didn't upgrade to the next level because they didn't know what was coming next. You see, whatever you're going through today is because there's something else to come. You have to armor up with this to pass this. That's how it would seem like, and that's how it does work. So you can't judge something and say, nah, this. When you get it or you're going to experience it, no, it's preparing you for something else. And but it's a lot of people who lock themselves in their house, just go to work, come home, lock themselves in their house, just go to work, come home, miss out experiences, miss their upgrade, miss their portals, and so fate take them in the worst way. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's a difference between the two. You must understand. You have to participate in ways, introvert or extrovert. You have to understand this how it works for you to go through. Let me give you a quick example. When you going through different levels of opening yourself perception, you could be in the United States and reach your peak, then go to Italy for a vacation and you just pop there. It's every environment, every country, every place has a part of you there that you have to go pick up. That's your job to go get it. If you pay attention to all the alchemy people, they went around to different countries and parted with different tribes and different people and came back with the knowledge, came back with what they needed to complete them to be lords, what you call lord. Now you work for the king or queen because they're going to send you out like if you 007 because your knowledge is of the whole earth. You went all over, you studied with those, you learned their language, you learned their cultures and tradition, but most of all, invisibly, while all that was going on, you accumulated all your protons, neutrons, and electrons and DNA from nature. You have the nature spirits, the elemental, that give you back everything and make you what's called a genius. That's when the soul come in on you. So that's a real process that you call coming in today, the initiation of the soul. It wasn't done by another human being like you see these Masonic society. That is done like in the movie The Matrix with Morpheus meaning your soul and Anderson meaning God man. Anders God man, God son. So the soul came to the body and told him, listen, you're not Thomas Anderson, you're Neo, meaning neophyte, and then you're being initiated by me. It's like he's in a meditative world. That's not a real world. That's what happened in meditation now. And in there, he learns he's the one God in him. It's the same thing like the movie, the one where Jet Li fights 125 him. It's a universal story. It's in all the cartoons too. Y'all see it in there from Mulan and all that stuff. It's one story taking place on this earth. Wake up and see it, everybody, and participate. It's your evolution. It's this time. With it come distraction. With good come a lot of bad too. Balance it out. Balance it out. Don't be addicted to nothing. Turn them devices off. Balance out your life. Spend time with your kids. When you're with your kids, don't be thinking about other things. See your kids. Be in the moment. Enjoy them. Make them laugh. Then go do your thing. So while you doing this and participating, you be in nature at the right time, at the right place, right intuition, and you get your upgrades. Next thing you know, you're more spiritual. So these is what's important. Time of the day, that's what it is. Real talk. And so we could get into more deeper aspects of it, but this is the most important part with all these world issues that's going on. You got mad people coming in from different parts of the world. Just know it's an evolution and it's not a bad thing. Only way it could be a bad thing is if you see it as a bad thing. But in life, we all is participating, like I said, in a universal form to for the universe. We chalk it up, we go back up, and we come back down and do it again. It's always been like that, and it always will be. And so you just participate and don't waste your time on things that don't serve you, energy that don't serve you, people that don't serve you. I'm not saying to be nasty or be mean to anybody. Sympathy is always the key to the heart, with the heart resonating and is the key to actually you being here. Your vibratory frequencies of the heart, that's why you're here. You wouldn't die, but you vibrate at a different frequency, you will leave this place. That's how our heart is the generator, and the navel is also where you leave and come through. So you have to understand these things when you sleep. It has the most profound effect upon you. That's how you leave. The breath is important. Without it, you actually gonna die. The breath also is what you travel on. You travel on your breath. You travel on your breath. The spirit is called the with macabre. These things y'all thinking is UFOs as human beings. Check out the guy from Monroe who went to the UFO conventions and tried to tell everybody it's not no such thing as a UFO. Those is people flying around with the macabre. I do it all the time, so do money of y'all and don't even know it's you. So on top of that now, so you understand in alchemy, that's the next part of your level. You have to learn these things eventually when you get your chakras open and they're spinning. There's also a macabre inside of you that give you the ability to see the Akashic records. Anything at any time that's happening, you're able to tune in and see. It's all possible. It's real. I do it. It teaches me the flowers. As we go more into these lessons and everything, I'll teach y'all more. I do herbs, you know. I sell these all over. They go all over the world to different countries with helping people from with cancer. Like this is a cancer one right here. Lupa Canyon, Lupa Porphyrio, what's called the white lead tree leaf. If you look at white lead tree, you'll see this is wonderful for cancer. I have a lot of cancer patients, so I make a lot of cancer medicines and deal with a lot of people with cancer. So it's just to give you an example, it's on the level now. Like I fortify my extracts. You know, I got all the different extracts. Do I have one up here? Let me see. Here you go. All right, see, like this one right here. This is Tree of Life, you know, represent. This is a cancer man. But you see now, they're enhanced. As you can see, I get these now, like this is zinc gluconate, all these things that actually the body needs to help. I'm more focused on prevention and actually helping people than to be worried about all this stuff. It's more, you have to look ahead than to look forward to. Just be you and do it than to think of what you're gonna do and you never did it because you always say you're gonna do it and you never had the stuff you needed to do it. That's not gonna work. If I was to show you how I do this, you would be like, damn, I got way more than he do, and I don't do it. So you have to push yourself and listen to your intuition because this is the time of the gods. We are gods. And I still do these things. I'm mastering these. I haven't brought them back to the tables yet, but I'm just giving you an example of some of them real quick that how they coming along. And like this now, I'm putting the tree of life on the back. As you can see, you got the tree of life written in there. So stay tuned. There's just a lot going on. And just a quick overview. Ever since I really stopped the posting so much, you know, it got deeper for me. I became very famous in my neighborhood. They call me doctor out here for real. And I heal from psoriasis, anything you name it. I'm the doctor for my community. And I do believe we all are healers in a way, and we need trust each other and believe in each other, but you must have the integrity not to hurt nobody or want to malice nobody to take on these type of responsibility. And the spirit will guide you to not just the medicine, but also the people that is going to take your medicine. The spirit send them. It's not something you have to go promote. You don't promote your medicine. That's because for money. You don't do it for money. You make the medicine, and the person who's supposed to get it is going to come get it. They're going to call you. They're going to text you. They're going to email you. It's their medicine. You just make it. Let your spirit guide you. That's how it's done. Yes, yes. What you were saying now? Let me read off some of these real quick. Um, but I know there's a light body. It takes so much consistency. I get distracted even by video games, which sucks. Yeah, it's not gonna be easy. It's never an easy journey when you're talking about doing these things. It's our weapon. The things that against us is the external world. If you was to be in isolation for a long time, you become a novice at it. So now you come out and you start mingling. It's hard to go back to it. That's what I'm saying. Remember that part. You think that it's hard. It's not hard. It's hard to go back to it because we have too many choices. If you cut down your choices and make it a have to, then you will see that it will come naturally more than a choice. We take choices out of the option now. Choice is the will. And if you put too much of your will on nature, it's going to work against nature. You will just know nature is the whisper. Go get something to eat. Walk over there. It ain't something that you're going to be mitigating with or debating with. It just says something. You heard it or you didn't. You listen or you didn't. It's just gonna. It's an energy. That's what's called an energy because you. I could say it like how I just said it. Go over there, but all it does is show your image in your head. You only respond. Your subconscious mind and your whole conscious mind only respond to images. That's why you're bombarded by media and the programs. You don't know. That's why I don't watch TV for so many years now or mess with that stuff. I'm prone to that. But your mind show your image and then you do it. So on that note, I'm saying nature's the one showing you the images, but you could mitigate it, you could procrastinate, you could just just don't see it, and do what you want to do. That's different. But you're being led, but you just don't see how you're being led. You understand what I'm saying? Me, my other ones also, brother. Okay. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna take you back. I see you started a little dialogue here. I didn't catch it. All right, talk about the breath. All right, need to go back to Jamaica. So about the breath, I gotta meditate like 700 more times or 700 properly. I only control my awareness. I'm too smart. LOL. If you counting, then you're not meditating. You have to don't worry about time and worry about the things you say. It's a state of believing. It's not a state of awareness. When you're aware, you're back in your body. When you're gonna meditate, it's like I don't meditate to nothing. You gotta meditate to nothing more than to something. I'm gonna tell you why. When you don't have nothing, you can hear your own breath. Sometimes you even hear nature, a little cricket crickling like what you hear. If you meditate to that, eventually that sound is gonna go away. You're gonna lose track of time. And when you remember or you're back and you can hear that sound again, you back. What you need to do then is look at your time and see how long was you gone. That's it. That's the whole trick to this. It's not doing that. It's really how long was you gone? How long did you zone out that you didn't even hear anything? You didn't even see anything. You was gone. That's really meditation right there. And so sometimes you could be in that state and something in the music that snap you back and you're in the room always, or just the music change and the radio, the commercial come on, the TV, it could pull you back. It's when you're able to get to that state, it's like a dong, 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 a big dong, 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 when you hear the littlest thing from a pin drop, sometimes is the loudest thing in the world and snap you back. That's where you want to free yourself. That's what I say, free yourself up. You free yourself up by being thoughtless. Learn to be their intuition. Then you won't think. If you thinking, that's gonna hinder you from meditation, hinder you from moving forward, hinder you from being in the moment. If you're in the moment, you can't think. You just experiencing. You're here. What are you doing? What do you mean thinking? What counting? Just be free and just close your eyes and do nothing. That's it. Listen to your breath as you breathe. Now, the breathing, let's talk about the breath. The breathing itself now is the process of not breathing, chest breathing. We always breathe with our chest. Or we breathing from just a comfort zone. This is death. Our breathing, let me give you a quick history of breathing real quick. You know what we call Typhon in Egyptian, he's the dragon, right? That dragon is air. That's the definition of him. His symbol is air. He's the breath that made us fall. So the Egyptians has already got it written that we fell by taking a breath. When we originally was, we had kundalini inside. We gyrated up and down the energy of our prana because prana is in the air, but it's not air. So we gyrated prana up and down. And the levels of meditation I'm on, you don't breathe sometime, and you have to be so concentrated and focused that if you do, you're gonna gas. You might suffocate. You might even asphyxiate because that's part of it. They teach you not to breathe. Sometimes your belly just draws in and you can't help it. It suffocates you like a person put a bag. The worst thing you could do is try to grasp air. You're gonna suffocate. So you just gotta relax, and you know you could breathe through your pores just a little bit. So alchemists, they don't chest breathe. They breathe from their lowest diaphragm. And it's just a natural occurrence. You breathe from your lower diaphragm. When you breathe from the lower diaphragm, you're ingesting prana. You're not ingesting CO2 or oxygen. You're just ingesting prana, which give you a longer life force and a longer lifespan and a healthier environment inside your body. Keep it more alkaline. Then when they say you breathing from the chest or you just regular breathe from the upper diaphragm, you're breathing in anxiety, fears, nervousness, dissatisfactions. These in our teachings it's more spiritual and it will have a bad influence on you because when we breathe in our lower stomach area, that's the area of problem, stress, thinking. When we breathe in our higher mind, the neocortex, by depriving the lower abdomen air, you start having visions and seeing things. So it has a very profound effect on you if you know how to use it. You understand? But you have to learn now the basic of breathing is to do like an offset. If you find yourself just doing a whole day of yourself, breathing regularly, rhythmatic, in harmony, you have to throw it off. If I was to recommend, I would recommend the Baduko breathing technique. You could Google it. He has a book, and he's a German scientist who studied breathing. And if the more you offset your breathing, the less CO2 intake you're taking, and the longer you live, and the healthier you be. They even had this stuff. I did it before in previous videos, the CP test, where you hold your breath without actually taking a breath. You just and then count, see how many seconds you go. That's how long you of air or oxygen you have in your body. Don't try to and then take a breath. You just leave yourself regular and then see how long you could take before you have to need breath. And you see how much life you have. And you know, the more athletic you are and the more you work here, long the longer it'll be. But you will want to get it up where that breathing don't really bother you to breathe so much because you could breathe in your lower abdomen and in your diaphragm. And you practice that by breathing out, blow out all your air. You blow it all out. Keep blowing so till the squeezes down there. Then when you're down there, you just slow breathe from there. You slow breathe. You relax breathe. You don't take in deep breath. And that's the master way. Then you'll be a master soon. You'll be flying around. So now I just want to say I got a lot of new customers and a lot of new people here in Jamaica that is actually, you know, clients of mine. I done moved up, like I said, to doctor category, and I'm doing like a lot of people and just my whole community healing from everything. And so I got a lot of new people here that's checking me out, and you're gonna see like tonight nighttime I dedicate to gods and the spirits and everything. But During the day, I'm gonna come on and I'm gonna do about herbs, healing, a lot about vitamins, minerals, deficiencies. Everything gotta go because these people tune into me not for this. They tune in for the healing stuff. They're not into all the spiritual stuff that we're into, you know. So I'm gonna be breaking it into two parts. That sometime during the day, if you want to tune in to hear about the health benefits of certain things, you could check me out. But during the night is where I'd be more spiritual and metaphysical. So I'm just giving you an overview, and to the new people, if y'all came to check me out to talk medicine and herbs, I'm sorry if I disappoint you because I'm not doing it yet. But I do got a lecture coming up at a church. I'm doing a whole church seminar on health and nutrition up in Mo Bay for these people, you know. So check me out. I'm gonna be around for a while. I'm just getting started, you know. So eventually I'll start putting it out, but in this process now, I'm trying to get my patents for different type of healing stuff because it's a lot of different medicines out here that I've invented, and they're working so much that I'll cure prostate over and over again with just a drink, fibroids too. So it's actually something I want to patent and get down pat before I start just broadcasting it all over the place because everybody, you know, they're going to copy and do it too. So let me just get that down pat before I really start broadcasting the herbal life and everything that I do to, you know, as far as my business. But it is a very big business now. I mean, from 6 in the morning till about 8, 9 o'clock, people call me from all over the island and even in America. And it's not one person that hasn't been satisfied with the service yet or been healed. So let's pray to God. It's all through God all this comes. All right. So, I think we covered everything. Let me finish reading that question, the last of what we was talking about. Um, Time of the day. I think I covered your question on the breath really, and you know, just meditate. Don't worry about yourself. Don't think too much when you're doing it. And Key, as soon as you visualize that picture or light, it's there, right? Even to see it is, in a sense, its power. I don't know if that's because of you yourself turning in sync with yourself. It's like remembering a dream. All right. Well, the light is always there, time of day, and it's you could pull it up at will because it is mind. It's a part of you. We all have it. Those that could pull it up, you're on your way. I would say try to master it. It's the teacher. It's the Jesus in you. Like I said, he says in the Father and the Father is in you. So you got spheres in you that you don't know about. The Vitruvian man. It's you got the Hat family. You know, it's so many different aspects of you that created you. You're a sub um you could say a summarization of everything that came before you. And so they all participate to create you, the new form. And so you got from the plants to the animals to the minerals to the crystals to God inside of you. And all of them is still individualized within yourself. All right. Now, because of the times and how we're doing this, we're gonna get more into the alchemy part of it. We ran through. Y'all understand what's the blackening now, and with it come petrification. Y'all understand. Next is the petrification, where you're about to interchange. Calcination is when you accept the change, and it's coming now from there. You start becoming not say the elixir or the philosopher's stone, but after that you start experiencing the experience is what comes next, which is gonna call transformation to get you to be doing what's called the works. The works is when you complete the whole alchemy process. You're psychic now, and you learn what you were supposed to do, and you come back and you help in society. You see it. That's where all the famous alchemists went through. It seemed like it happened in my life too. All of a sudden, I've become this healer and it's healing everybody. I don't even know how this happened, but it's real, and I'm pretty sure everybody have it in them, and it's your journey. You must. be wanting it and accept yourself as it and see the universe as a living being that's here to assist you and guide you when you're ready to be assisted, when you're ready to leave your ego, ready to leave and want to learn. And that's what it's about. You can't have no fear, no ignorance. Try not to be too much into the videos and propagandas and YouTubes. It's all inside of you. You are YouTube. You have everything inside of you. Take the time out to learn yourself, and you will see you're alive in there and been talking to you and deal with you. It's images. Everything is hologram in there. It's not what you think. You're a holographic being too. So don't think you're just a mind in the dark imagining what you want and think what you want. It don't work like that. It's like what I just read with him with the light and the orb. Everything is consistent. There's many people that has taken this journey and all of it is the same. There's nobody who went on a different journey that is not real. So when you don't hear the same thing and everybody saying the same thing because they're not experiencing the real thing. The real thing, everybody experienced the same thing. That's why we all have this group talk. All right. So on that note, let me see. Yes. Ray Tashi, he wanted you to speak on the comment about visualization. Okay, where's that one at? Let me hit that up. See what he said. Y'all having little talks over there. I didn't even see that. I'm seeing it now. All right. Okay, it's a lot here. Let me see. I've been struggling with my lust. Can you give me a little bit of insight on how to subdue it? All right, Quara L. It's the easiest way to subdue it is to face it. Is to you see you're struggling with something that you ain't supposed to be worried about right now. Your lust is where you're at. You gotta look at it like this. We try to change before change comes to us. You now wanting to change, you accept the fact will bring about the change, but trying to say that you're gonna stop right now and what's the best way, cold turkey? I would tell you do more of it. Discuss yourself with it. Make it that you hate it. Keep doing it. That's what I would say. That's how you stop yourself. You understand? Everything we do, we always do it until we overdo it, and that's when we don't like it no more. So I wouldn't tell you not to indulge. I would tell you to overindulge. By doing that, you will stop indulging faster. You get what I'm saying now? So it makes it. It's like using psychology on yourself. That's the best way. Um, and you know what? The lust thing, it gets deeper because sometimes it is your path into spirituality. It's like some people path is drugs. That's what they learn with hallucinogen LSDs. It's like the people who was taken in the 70s, later on in the 2000s, wind up realizing they was mostly chasing their spirituality, and that helped them. And so it's the same thing. You're going through a kundalini experience. You're experiencing tantra on a level and you're supposed to go and involved in it. It's not you're supposed to stop. And how do I stop smoking? Okay, for you, this is the high priestess. The easiest way I could tell you to stop smoking is to get this. This is the most powerfulest thing you could get. Get yourself some NAC. This is acetylic cysteine. Get yourself some of this, right? This will cut from cigarette smoking to help you with from diabetes to blood pressure, fix erectile dysfunction. Just put in NAC benefits and read the first one that you see. You got like 100 things. I smoked like 2 months ago. You smoked like 2 months ago. Let me see what I missed here. Uh, sure I stopped smoking. Well, no, it's different. Well, you could say first you're gonna stop smoking, but then, all right, if it's trees you're talking, you got cannabinoid receptors, and if you're talking cigarettes, you still got nicotine receptors. So you're gonna get this feeling of a urge. The urge is from the receptors. You was built to smoke in both of those worlds, tobacco and cannabis. So the NAC, and there's a few other things that kill that desire to want to smoke. It killed the nicotine receptors and it killed the cannabinoid receptors. That's why it's the best thing to use, and also it takes it out the liver and kidney so that you won't desire it. You won't have that taste. But it takes for you to say you want to quit and put it down first and get to the part where you're having that feeling for it part. You know, where you get that little funny feeling in the throat because you're having a nicotine deficiency and whatnot. That's when that comes in and it'll take over right there where you won't get that. Aside from that, milk thistle is good for that too. Get yourself some milk thistle. Take some milk thistle pills. It's good for the liver and kidney, and it detoxes you from the different pharmaceutical drugs that's being put into all the, not even pharmaceutical, all the toxicity that's in the cigarette. So that's what's making you have the fiending for it, or you want it all the time, your addiction. So once you're able to get over the mental part of it, use the NAC to actually get over the fiending part, the nicotine and desire for it. That will get rid of that. And there's a few other things like time tea. Time do it too. You know, you could use that. I think also peppermint oil. Just put a little bit of peppermint oil. You could do from I do peppermint oil mouthwash. You could just take peppermint oil and put it with water, spring water, just like 2 dots in it. Shake them up with a little wintergreen, and you got mouthwash, fresh mouthwash. But with just a little bit of peppermint and you in the water, and you drink that, it'll take away that nicotine craving, that thing y'all get when you get that feeling inside, like you have to have it, like the coffee feeling, you know. So that'll do that. Alright, let me see now. Or detox I just learned the hard way from a badass trip. Well, that too, you know, like I said, and nothing comes before its time. Just take your time. Enki, can you talk about how government intercept dreams through its scanning technology? Terrell Reynolds, okay. I could do real quick. We you talking about the that God? They call it the God thing. Well, it's 100% real, you know, and it's actually, you know what I noticed? Like if you got like the iPhone 11, the iPhone 12, if you was to take your other phones, like another phone, and look through the screen where you can do your face recognition, there's a steady red infrared light that is beaming. Even when it's off, it just be beaming. And it's, you know, it's the trickiest thing with your phone locked. If you put it by your face, it does it. It's like it turns on when it sees a face, even though it's off. You get what I'm saying? This thing now is let me tell you. I was actually in like meditation, and you know I could see energy coming out of the phone. It's things that is being pushed through these things in our pocket that we walk around with, that is mitigating our magnetic field to magnetic field. That's where you get that SARS thing at. And it's actually like a portal to come into you. Spirits come into you. You got to take into consideration the frequencies of whatever you're watching. It's a in subliminal energy being pushed out with entertainment over it, overlaying it, so you can stare at it. When you stare at it, you leave your body. You allow yourself to be programmed, possessed. That's how you get information if you don't understand. You stand there with your mouth open and you stare, you're taking a picture of everything, but something is coming into you. Well, this is coming through the phone. These is coming in through these devices. Pay attention to how that like I said, the 11 and the 12, you just turn them to you and they just cut on automatically. It's like there's a scanner always scanning the place, always scanning the place. Peppermint, can you use the herb over using the oil? The herb is for internal, the oil is for external. You understand? The oil is very harsh. If you're gonna use, even when I told you the oil for the mouthwash and thing, you're gonna just rinse out your mouth with it ain't to swallow. Now, if you wanted something that you was gonna put inside your body, you would just put like one drop, one dot, thick, and then you could put enough water, and that will soothe your stomach from gastric acid, or if you have an upset stomach, you could put that with a little bit of baking soda. Put baking soda in there. You replicate in like a Pepto Bismol with it being like a bismuth type of thing. Just the peppermint and the baking soda, what is it? Biocarbonate. Yeah, the spirit left me see this before sleep sometimes. I see a red dot when my eyes are closed. NASA monitor astral activity. Yeah, Terrell, they've been know this. You see, the trick is not to let you know this. And we all have macabres. Yeah, I advise you to get into macabre Hekala Ju, what is the Jews actually did it. I think it was called, let me see if I can remember, the Macabre. They spell it with a V, and I think it was called Hekala Macabre. If you get into their actual mysticism, Jewish mysticism cover that. Just Google Jewish mysticism and put in the Macabre, and you will see that it's a real thing, and it's actually in their religion. And you got to realize religion is what you live. Religion is sub understanding of the body and what it's doing here. And they done figured it out that everybody's playing out this Jesus role. You have only one thing you could do in this. And so it's been written in books, it's been put out and everything, but it does not mean that's dumb. It means that's you. That's what you're gonna go through. The same thing. You just can't see it. But those that can see it, it aligns for you. So that's why I'm putting you on. So the macabre is very important for you to understand, and if you could learn it, see it, it has a orb or a light. That's what everybody's seeing. That's what they're talking about, and it guides you. Buddha wasn't taught by a human being. Buddha was taught by spirits. These spirits is still here mitigating your whole energy and what you're doing, so you can unite with them, and they're your teacher. Like a lot of people get upset. I initiate them, but they say, "Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?" I'm not the teacher though. Morpheus is coming to see you. Your spirit guide got you. You got your own spirit guide, and I just bring you into the portal, and he's gonna teach you from in there. So that's how it works. Now, a lot of people come in there with contentions and they're upset and they want this and they want that. They think they're mothers, they think they're fathers, they think they're this. All that has to get broken. You have to realize you're nothing. And when you get to the nothing, that's when you realize, oh shit, that's because I'm everything. And it's the simplest thing. The Bible tell you that shit. It says, although he's king of all, he has nothing. And that's because you picking one thing it's like the glass that has the water in it and it's sealed, but then it's in water too. It's like you don't know you the water that's in the glass is the same water outside the glass. So take the glass out the water and you're the all. Now you own the water. That's what I'm trying to tell you. By you being nothing, you become everything. By you being something, you become the water in the glass in the water. You contain yourself. Alright, so you get it now. But bro, there are man philosophy and there. What's this one? Wait, magnetic field is a big topic. I never looked into the property, only from experience. I learned the duality of that. All right, so you get it now. All this stuff is real. The magnetic field is the most important thing because that's where you remain at when you pass away. You stay in your magnetic field. You don't ever leave your magnetic field. The magnetic field is where everything happens at. There's nothing that exists outside of the magnetic field. And so once you pass away, you go back into your magnetic field. Everybody magnetic field is connected. It's like you heal the orange and the orange magnetic field around it, but inside the orange, every pulp has a magnetic field. So heal the outside pulp, and you healed all the inside pulp too. That's how the magnetic field works. So we're all part of one big magnetic field. Some of us is conscious of it, some of us isn't. But it renders you the ability to be on all channels, all systems. Everything is available to you, from TV to cell phone to satellite to the Akashic records. Because the magnetic field is the fluid, the water that they talk about. That is, when you dream and you think you're swimming and you're in your magnetic field. Anything watery that is clear, but you can't tell if it's air or water, it's the magnetic field. And it's a blue color too, a light blue color, so it looks like water. That's the magnetic field. I hope you understand that. Alright, so we done for the night. I'm about to go wrap it up. I really appreciate y'all coming and spending some time with me, all 22 of y'all, 222. See y'all special. And I see y'all on the next one. If anything, y'all can inbox me. Check me out on Facebook. I'm on the Damian Samuels, Samuel. And I'll catch y'all probably tomorrow or the next couple days. All right. University of Conscious Science. One love.